Hello students, welcome to BioVisco. Today we are going to study the first chapter of Class 10 Science Chemical Reaction and Equation. So without wasting our time, let's start the whole thing. So the first question arises here. What exactly is chemical reaction? How do we know that a chemical reaction has taken place? What happens in chemical reactions when two products A and B, these are also known as, so two substances A and B, these are also known as reactants. When they form a product, suppose that it's AB, the chemical properties of the new product is entirely different from the reactants. That's the first case. So what happens here? First, the chemical properties of reactants and products, they are different, right? Second, the second thing is that how do we know that the that a chemical reaction or the chemical reaction has taken place? There are certain changes. We find the change in temperature, which I find in the change of color, or there can be certain formations, formation of precipitate, solid substance left out, or there can be formation of gas. So there are certain things that happens in the chemical reaction. The chemical properties of reactants. The chemical properties of reactants. So the chemical properties of reactants are quite different, and the products are quite different. So the product which has been made from the reactants, their chemical properties are quite different from the reactants. Second, there are certain changes in terms of temperature, color, and certain things are formed, precipitate or gas. So this one is certain, this has to take place. But apart from that, if any of these things happen, either there is a change in temperature, color, or there is formation of precipitate or gas, it means a chemical reaction has taken place. Now let us move towards the second point. How to write a chemical equation. There are certain methods to write a chemical reaction. What are those? What are the methods to write a chemical equation? At first, let's write the substances. Magnesium oxide. What happens here? Then we write the symbol oxygen. This is called the skeletal equation. Then we have to balance it, which is known as balanced equation. So here we have two atoms of oxygen, and here we have only one. So 2 into 1 is 2. Now the oxygen, atoms of oxygen, we have two here, two here, but here we have two magnesium atoms, and here we don't have any. So now it's balanced. So now we write twice Mg plus O2, that is twice Mg. Hmm. Okay. So that's the skeletal equation, and then we have the balanced equation. Clear? Now let us move forward. There are certain ways through which a chemical equation can be balanced. So why do we need to balance an equation? We all know that mass or energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So the atoms must be equal on both sides. So here we had the balanced equation. Twice mgu. We have two atoms of oxygen, and then we have two atoms of oxygen. So we have balanced equation here. Now, what is the process to balance equation? Let's take into account a skeletal equation, Fe plus H2O, Fe2O3 plus it's Fe3O4, Fe3O4 plus H2. Let us take into account this one. Here we have 3 Fe. Let's consider the middle one first. But here we have only 1. 1 into 3 is equal to 3. Now we have 4 oxygen here. 4 atoms of oxygen. But here we have none. So let us put 4H2O. Now we have 3Fe, 3Fe, 4 oxygen, 4 oxygen, but here we have 2, and here we have 4 into 10, 8H. So let's put 4, 4H2. Now the equation has been balanced. Let us move further and study about types of reactions. At first, let's study about the combination reactions. Here the substances combine to form a product. That's combination reaction for you. Let's take an example. CaO plus H2O. What do we get? CaOH whole 2. So combination reaction, two substances here. Two substances here. They combine to form a product. CaO2 and they form a product CaOH2. The second one is the opposite. It's known as decomposition reaction. It's known as decomposition decomposition reaction. The decomposition reaction is the opposite of combination reaction. What happens here? Here AB is broken into A plus B using light or heat form of energy. For example, let's take the example of CaCO3. It is broken using heat and it breaks into CaO plus CO2. So decomposition reaction here AB is broken into A plus B using high energy, light, heat, electricity, etc. Here we have the example CaCO3 is broken using the heat energy into CaO and CO2. Let's move forward. The third one is displacement reaction. How does a displacement reaction takes place? When the active ones, here the active ones replaces the less reactive ones, less reactive ones. So for example, A plus BC. Here A replaces B and B is set aside. So that is a displacement reaction. Here A is more reactive than B. Let us take for example Zn plus CuSO4. We have Zn which is more active than Cu. Zn is more active than Cu, so it combines with SO4, ZnSO4 and Cu is left out. Cu is less reactive than Zn. Third, we have double displacement reaction. What happens here? AB plus CD. Here A combines with D and B combines with C. So there's double displacement reaction AD plus BC. That's the formation here. Let's take example of Na2SO4 plus Bs barium chloride BaCl2. We get here BaSO4 plus twice NaCl. So what happens here? Ba combines with SO4 and Na combines with Cl2. Now let us move forward. Now let us study about oxidation and reduction. What is oxidation exactly? It is the gain of oxygen or loss of hydrogen. Here the opposite happens. It's the gain of hydrogen or loss of oxygen. We have taken an example here. What is that example? CuO plus H2. CuO plus H2. What happens here? Cu plus H2 is formed. So, since there is loss of oxygen, it's the reduction here. Gain of oxygen takes place, so it is oxidation here. So, when in a reaction, when in the same reaction, when reduction and oxidation both take place, that particular reaction is known as redox reaction. So, oxidation and reaction. What is oxidation? Gain of oxygen, loss of hydrogen, either gain of oxygen or loss of hydrogen. Here reduction, either gain of hydrogen or loss of oxygen. And a reaction in both oxidation and reduction takes place. It is known as redox reaction. CuO plus H2, Cu plus H2O. Cu loses oxygen, so it's a reduction. H2O gains oxygen, so it's oxidation. Now let us discuss the reaction on the basis of energy changes. So what kind of reactions are those? First, it's exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. And the second one is endothermic reaction. What happens in exothermic reaction? Here, exo, that means heat released. Here, heat is absorbed. Clear? So, the example of exothermic reaction. C plus exothermic reaction. C plus O2, that is CO2. Endothermic reaction, here heat is absorbed and that particular heat is used to break CaO into CO2, CaCO3 into CaO and CaCO2. Clear? So on the basis of energy changes, we have exothermic reaction where energy is released. Heat is raised. It is a plasma energy C plus O2 CO2. Endothermic reaction in which heat is absorbed and what happens? This particular substance is broken into simpler ones, CaCO3 into CaO plus CO2. Now, let us discuss about corrosion and rancidity. Let's first discuss corrosion. What exactly is corrosion? Corrosion means slow damage of what? Metals. Slow damage of metals. And the classical example is rusting of iron. When iron comes into contact with air, we get oxygen, comes contact into oxygen and water. What happens? The product here is rusting takes place Fe2O3. That means rusting has taken place. So corrosion is the slow damage of metals, and the classical example is rusting of iron. Fe, when comes into contact with O2 and H2O, we have the product here. That means that the iron of rusting of iron has taken place. Now, how can we prevent this rusting of iron? So we can prevent the rusting of iron by doing certain things. If we paint the metal, this substance made up of iron, we can prevent corrosion. Second, if we oil it properly, then also corrosion can be avoided. And if we coat it with another metal, then also corrosion can be avoided. So these are the methods to prevent corrosion. Now let us focus on another topic. What is that? It's called rancidity. Rancidity. What is mean the rancidity? It is known as oxidation of fats. That rancidity. It leads to bad smell. Oxidation of fats leads to bad smell, and this particular feature is known as rancidity. So, what? How can it be prevented? So, first, add antioxidants. Antioxidants. Second, keep the things airtight using containers. The third one, use refrigerators. These are the things, if we use them, the acidity can be prevented. So oxidation of fats, when it takes place, bad smell emanates, and this particular feature is known as acidity. How it can be prevented? It can be prevented by adding antioxidants. That means antioxidants prevent the oxidation of fats. The containers must be kept airtight so that oxidation of fats don't take place. And third, refrigerators or fridges must be used to prevent oxidation of fats. So we have finished the chapter. I hope you have understood the whole concepts. So do subscribe my channel if you like my videos. Thank you. Have a great night and good night from me. Thank you.